Hi, friends. Never fear, I'm here. Hope you didn't miss me too much. Okay, I'm still figuring out my setup, so don't mind me. I need to move some things around. I'm still trying to figure out my camera. I've only used this camera a few times now. Hi, Donica. And hi, I don't know, Anderson. I'm going to, let's see if this will. If it'll autofocus. I think that it, ooh, maybe it won't. Does that mean I can manually focus it? This is what I've been dealing with. Maybe not. It's what I can't figure out is this camera's focus. I don't know if there's a way to turn it off. There's no setting. When I'm like looking at it, it's different than my other one. So I might just look it up really fast. Don't mind me. Let's see. Canon M50. Turn on manual focus. I would just like it to be on my project all the time. Focus mode. Manual focus and video. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna play with it a little bit while we're hanging out. What are you guys working on? What are you up to? How are you doing? Tell me all the things. I'm gonna take it out and do it. Oof. Vince, how did you put this in here?
The little thing is in
I don't know how to take this out. Ah, got it.
See the little.
He like shoved in there really good. Let's see. We're just going to experiment because this lens does not have a manual focus like switch, which is probably why I don't know what to do. But I think that maybe it might have to do with settings. So we're gonna look in menu. Daniel, what are you working on? Board game. Crochet shawl. Cool, cool, cool. Box art. Did you finish all of the art already? It looked really good. I need to scoot this over. It's a little bit better. I feel like my positioning's weird tonight. It's not the same as it usually is. And everything's mirrored, so it's really hard to tell. Daniel, what's your game about again? Daniel's working on like a physical board game. Let's see. Camera. Sound recording. Remote control. Cool, Anderson. ISO. Auto lighting, exposure, metering, white balance, white correction, picture style, autofocus. Focus mode. Aha! We found it, guys. It's buried deep in the menu. No wonder I couldn't find it. You can't do it from like the main screen, which is so dumb. Otherwise, I do really like this camera. So far, so good, except for that. Okay, shove it back in here. It's in my closet. My closet is above me. And this just gets shoved. There we go. Okay. That should be fine. Let's see if my project is here. Anderson, what are you working on? Oh, hallelujah. Okay. Let me know if it gets fuzzy, you guys, as I'm moving my project around, because it's on manual focus now, but I like that better because then every time I move my hand or something, it doesn't like mess it all up. Give me a really nice view of my armpit. Let's see. Accidentally closed the window. There we go. I am starting a new cross stitch project. Just FYI. A new one is on its way. I finished the Come We Fly one. I'll show it to you in a sec as soon as I figure out plugging this cord in blind. Maybe it needs to be turned the other way. Vince, could you help me plug this cord in? I can't see it and I don't want to take the camera back out. So I finished the Come We Fly one. I actually love how it turned out. I keep finding that I like my projects so much better in real thread than I even like them like digital. So I'm really happy that I'm going through making all of them. The one bummer is that I realized that for the pattern I'm starting right now, it's like the one thread that I didn't get enough of. So now I get to get another skein and a half of it in the next few days, Vince. Sorry. Let's see. Let me switch. Okay, that should be good. Thanks, son. Ah, focus. Yay, so much better. Oh, let me turn this light on too. Sorry, we were getting set up tonight and everything was going good. And then Goose was sitting in a cardboard box up against the bug screen with the door open, and he fell off the side of the bed, and that pushed the bug screen door open. So he not only fell off of the bed onto like under the bed, he just tumbled right out of the van, which is a problem because we hadn't put their collars on. Their collars have like air tags, so like in an environment like this, we're sitting in the middle of a parking lot, you know, at a beach, we'd be able to like find him easily, but we couldn't. Or I mean, he was under the van, but like that was panic-inducing because if we didn't grab him immediately, then he could have run off, and he gets really scared of cars. He doesn't like loud noises very much. Goose doesn't. So that was a problem. So we had to go rescue him. I had to crawl under the van and grab him, and he just sat there and meowed at me. He was scared. Poor baby. But yeah, so that was a really fun thing that happened. Loved it. So that kind of messed up all of my time. Will you plug that in? Thanks. Might not be able to have all those things plugged in.
Oh, no.
You can move
I'll move that and I'll just charge it out there.
Yeah, just move it. It's probably actually full already. Extra camera battery. But yeah, so here's this after I got this plugged in. Yeah, thanks, hon. It does fit. The way that it was fits. Yeah. And then just plug it right in underneath. On the last one? Yep, there you go.
Alright.
Got it. Okay, so here it is with light. Wow, this focus is so much better. Okay, I'm glad I figured out turning off manual focus. But yeah, I think it turned out so cute. I'm obsessed with the vacuum. I think is really fun. I think it's darling. Is the yellow light better? No, yellow light is not better. It needs to be brighter though. Yeah, I think it turned out really fun. I did make actually a few color adjustments. So it is a little bit different than what my original pattern was. I changed the color of these, and I mostly changed the broom because I felt like there was too much brown on the broom. So I think that it's much more balanced now. But yeah, it turned out cute. Okay, I'm catching up on comments. Sorry, that camera was so annoying. Daniel, a game is a 2-6 player board game that's entirely played on a hexagon-shaped board that is made out of 60. Okay, this is already kind of complicated for me to visualize, so you're gonna have to share it in the Discord. Oh, Anderson, you're doing a portrait of your dog? Cute. Cute, cute, cute. Cards, roll cards, can be variants. Cool. Damn, that sounds really fun. I don't know. I don't want to call you I don't know. Is it okay if I call you Anderson? I think last names are fun. I love pugs. When we lived in France, there was like the owner of the apartment that we lived in. They were really nice, and they had these was it two pugs or just one pug? I can't remember how many pugs they had. The apartment owner in France that had that hilarious pug in our Le Canet apartment.
Oh, yeah, that was two.
Yeah, okay, they had two pugs. One of them was like black and had the loudest breathing you've ever heard in your life. Like every single move they made them huff and puff, like they were going to die. And they were so cute. And we lived on the top floor, no, second to top, like apartment in this little tiny building that was very, very old. It was all like, you know, like stone walls and like so old. And you had to like go up this circular staircase all the way up to where our apartment was. And so every time they needed to come to our apartment, which was a 180 square foot studio apartment, it's not like there's a lot to see up there, but like we need to get our refrigerator fixed once and a few other things. So anytime they needed to come up, they'd always have their little like fat black pug with them. And that pug was like up the stairs the entire way. They're like dripping snot because they're huffing and puffing so severely. It was always so funny. I loved that dog. Every time they came into our apartment, they were just about to perish, which cracked me up. I don't know how I feel about this white balance. I think I want it to be warmer. I feel like it needs to be warmer. What do we think? Anyway, pugs are great. We love them. Don't hate me. I'm going to switch the white balance to a different one. I'm just using like their auto. Oh, Flash. That's the one that was good. Okay. I couldn't remember which one I did last time that looked really good. It's Flash, not like fluorescent LED, whatever it was. Did I do it? Yes, I did. Okay, great. This will be closer to what it actually looks like. Oh no, Vince. How do I fix this? The screen is off.
Oh.
See what I mean?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You have two of them to also? That's so fun.
It's simple.
I'm just gonna walk me through it. Here's some pictures in Discord. Okay, we're gonna look. Vincent has to fix my...
Yeah, so click on that box
Yes,
on the video.
I am clicking on it, but nothing's happening.
Drag it.
Oh, do you just... Nope.
The hell?
I don't know. Sorry, usually things aren't quite so crazy. We're still kind of figuring, like, fine-tuning this. It looks like it's really weird, doesn't it? I'm gonna turn it off, turn it back on. See if that fixes it.
No, it's definitely something that is...
Oh, it's sideways. Why is it sideways?
It was always sideways.
No, I mean, now it is not doing that anymore.
Oh,
It was the
no.
camera.
Ah.
It was the camera.
It was the camera. Hi.
Sorry, I just want to nail it so that I don't have to think about it ever again.
Sorry.
I know. We have so much hair. In this van, the amount of hair that I clean up every single day, there is just gobs of hair. Between like my hair is really long at this point, and I have a good amount of hair. Vincent has about double. Stop it, that's disgusting. Vincent has about double. I hate hair, actually. Vincent has about double the amount of hair that I have. And then we have two 16-pound cats. So much hair. Okay, Daniel, I'm gonna look in the Discord in a minute. Let me get my stuff out first, though. And let me show you what we're working on tonight. How long have we been going? How long until I actually get started on these streams? Let's see. Also, this music is too much. I am going to change it. No, thank you. Always tell me if the music sucks. I can hear it, but I'm not usually paying attention to it. Let's see, Daniel. Stitchcraft. Oh, those are cute. I really like your... How did you do these graphics? You didn't draw them, did you? Because if you did, then you're a better artist than I realized. So, tell me. You drew them, like, from scratch? Pretty impressive, Danny. Are you trying to take over my role as illustrator in this family? I don't know how I feel about that. I'm kidding. You can do art if you want to. It's fine. Oh, I'm also going to... Sorry. I'm going to turn up the exposure also. That's what I did. I don't remember. I use this for vlogging also. So I always have to remember my settings for this versus my settings for vlogging. Which is completely different use cases. Can I do it? Yes, I can. Edit it. Is that too much? It might be too much. I really, really hate that I can't fix this. Yeah, I need to do that. I hate that I can't fix this with the cord plugged in. That's very inconvenient. We're gonna do one instead. I think it just needs to be up by 1. Hi, Dana. Now we have 2 Andersons in the chat. Okay, still struggling to plug this in. Blind. There we go. Yeah, that's better. I think it looks good. Okay. Up, exposure up 1. White balance on flash. I think that's what we needed. Sorry, so late, Dana. Vincent's about to start streaming. Vincent has a new thing going with Dana in the chat, and Her husband, a couple of other friends, and my little brother Dawson. He's teaching them French, like live streaming it. But the only time that he has that's free is also Thursday night. But they're all on the East Coast, except for my little brother. But most of them are on the East Coast. So it's going to be right before my stream, which is why I had to move it to 7 instead of 6. So that is unfortunate, but it's just the night that everybody has free. I went surfing today, so my hair is like crunchy and sticky. Oh. Wait, Daniel, who are you talking about? Oh, you. Oh, sorry. It's covered by an icon on my screen. You're talking about you and Dawson. That is true. You both have kind of a deadpan, a funny, like, deadpan joke voice. Okay, so what we're working on tonight, now that I finally have everything set up, I just having to go rescue Goose from underneath the van really threw off my schedule. Let's see. I should probably actually start cross-stitching. Okay, so this is the pattern. This is another one of my Hocus Pocus patterns. It's really simple. It's only 4 colors and 8 inches. So it's like a really basic one. It's like good for beginners. And this orange, I needed 2 skeins of, and I have literally half a skein. So that's my bad. I'm gonna have to go get another skein of it. But should be easy to do. I figured this one was like an easy one to do during the stream. The other one that I need to do still, that's Hocus Pocus related, is like, it's like the Sanderson Sisters Brewing Company sign, which is so cute, but it's a lot of backstitching and it's mostly black work. So it's a lot more complicated. So I wanted to do something basic, easy for tonight. I'm just gonna use it, do it on Stitchly like I always do. I really like Stitchly. Easy to check stuff off. I've never been good at checking things off as I go, but Stitchly actually makes it so easy. Dana, you can always text me outfits. I will respond even if we're streaming, if you tell me that you sent me something. I will look. We can all chime in together. Daniel's great at picking out outfits, right, Daniel? Ooh, 83 is really warm. In Vermont? Why is it so warm? I think you can do a lot. Like, I think if it's too warm to do, like, full fall color, or full fall, like, styles, like sweaters and stuff, then just do fall colors, and then you'll still feel cute. And also just do boots with everything. Like, you can still do short dresses and, like, leggings and tank tops, and then just add boots. That's how I would handle that. I don't know if that's what you wanted, but that's what I would do. That's really warm. That's warmer than it is here. This 8 count is just 14. It's, I probably actually should switch to 16 because I stitch a little bit on the tight side and there's more white that you can see than I like generally. Like, I'll probably be doing 3 strands instead of 2 for this just to make it a little more full looking. Because I've liked that better. I liked that better on the Come We Fly one that I did. Tested that out and it worked better for me. I'll go through more floss, but it's, you know, floss is pretty dang cheap, so I'm not too worried about that. Oh good, I already have a strand of 3. I just think I'll be happier with it. Especially for a piece like this where it's so much solid color. I feel like it's not as big a deal when you have like lots of little details. And I'll show you this one again, like for instance, like this back stitching. There's lots of like little back stitching details that kind of fill in the color. This is like double layered obviously also. So I'm not as worried about it for that, but like Come We Fly for these letters I did 3 strands. For all the black I did 3 strands and I like that better. So yeah, Dana, just focus on a color palette and then add boots to everything. And then you don't need to do scarves and sweaters and stuff because it'll be way too warm for that. I would bring one sweater just in case it randomly gets cold because weather can be very unpredictable this time of year, I feel like. Let's see. Hilarious. Okay, Dana, love you. Sounds good. Oh, it's like, where'd my needle go? It's right here. Yeah, I did get like a big roll of 14, so I'm gonna keep using it for all of these, and I'll just use 3 strands instead of 2, but I'll probably switch to 16 or 18 for other patterns that I make down the line. Let's see. And I always use DMC floss. My big let me show you this actually. My big project this week has been, I'm finally transitioning from using only like floss baggies to using bobbins just by necessity. I like the floss baggies better, but I have more than 200 colors now, and it's just like too much. I'm like overwhelmed by trying to find stuff, and as I'm making patterns and making them physically, I can pick out palettes a little bit easier if I can just see them, because like digital palettes are never gonna quite do it justice. Like things are always more vivid and beautiful in person. So that's when my project is moving everything over to bobbins, and it's taking so long. It's probably like I probably did it for like 10 hours yesterday because I'm just trying to get it done. Good night, Dana. Love you. Sleep well. Send me pictures. Let me show you. Here's 1 through 800. These are all duplicates for like upcoming patterns I need to make. These are all colors I don't have, which makes me feel like I don't even have that many, but I have a lot. This is like more than 100 colors in here. And then this is where I'm at on 900 or 800 through 3900 or whatever it is. We're getting there. I'm almost done, but it's been a big project this week, but I just felt like I'm working on a new pattern for Chaperone, like Pink Pony Club. I mentioned it last week. Still working on it. And I just realized, like, I really, like, especially for that one, because I want to make something that looks like neon lights. And so you really need to be able to see, like, the shades. The shades need to make sense, because it needs to be, like bright white in the middle, like a fluorescent light, or like a neon light. And then, like, you know, gradually darker color on, like, a black fabric. Anywho, so I'm trying to figure that out. Okay, I did not mark the center of this cloth, but I have extra on here, so I guess it doesn't really matter too much. I'm just going to start. Yeah, so I'm trying to figure that out. It's kind of a lot. And in the meantime, I'm trying to get through all my Halloween patterns, and then I filmed a band tour last week that I'm still trying to finish editing. I'm kind of overwhelmed. And in typical ADHD fashion, I started this massive floss project that is absolutely not a priority in the way that like actually getting a YouTube video out on time is. It's already not on time. But here we are. Here we are doing the thing that I always do. I always find other projects that also need to get done, and they're all important, but they are not all timely, and I'm doing the not timely one first, as usual. So, good job, Emma. But I did actually get to go surfing for the first time in a week today. It was just such a weird week with the heat wave where we went upstate. Okay, actually I have lots to tell you. So we went upstate on Friday. Was it Friday that we went to see the movie? I think we went to see Beetlejuice on Friday. I think that was that night. And it's already about, I need my soda. It's already about 30 minutes inland. So we were like looking at the weather, and we realized that it was going to be literally 100 degrees over the weekend, where we usually are down by the beach, when usually it's like 75, maybe. It's been 80. It's been like the hot summer weather. So 100 was a lot. It's too much for us. It's too hot. The cats will be miserable. We'll be miserable. Like 80. I mean, it was 83, 84 during last week, and that was already like pretty miserable. Like we were just sweating constantly, and it's gross. Like, and then if it's too hot, where like you don't even want to go surfing, that creates a whole nother set of problems, because then you just feel disgusting. I feel like if I can surf every day, then let me zoom that in more. If I can surf every day, then I don't mind when it's hot, because I just like I get like a full rinse in the ocean. And I was not getting that last week, so I felt disgusting, and I was really ready to not be hot. And then we looked at the weather and realized it was going to be literally so much hotter than it already was, and we were like, absolutely not. So we made plans to go up to Big Bear Lake, which would have been fun. I like doing that kind of stuff in the fall. It feels fun to like go. Let me. Sorry, I'm just gonna straighten that because it's gonna bug me. I generally like doing fall-related things. Turn off the info. As soon as it hits like September generally, but it was just mostly because we need to escape the heat. But we're like, okay, Big Bear Lake will be fun. At least that can feel like a fun time, even if we're doing it just because it's so hot we can't survive. Night Anderson. Have a good one. Good hanging out. We got up to Big Bear Lake and immediately there was so much smoke in the air because there was wildfires that popped up over the week also. I knew that there had been wildfires that popped up, but I didn't realize like how bad they were, and they were moving really fast because of the heat and the dryness and the wind. So it ended up being like, by the time that we got up there, literally the road that we took like behind us was closed. Like we got out at Slater Bros, which is just like a grocery store, and we just to grab dinner. We were gonna make dinner, and then like literally there's just ash in the air. We could smell campfire kind of smoke, and we're like, oh no. And so we ended up literally just having to drive straight back down. It was like a 2.5 hour drive, and we needed to do that mostly because quite literally our batteries couldn't keep up with the heat. Like it's too hot for them to charge efficiently with the solar panels, and it's also too hot to not have the fans running on high, which also drains the batteries faster. So it's just this horrible thing where like you were just taking out more power that we could put in, and in the meantime that all the equipment's running really hot. So it just, yeah. Anyway, we luckily, at least for that day, we were able to like drive and charge our batteries that way, because we also have like a battery to battery charger where we can, as we're driving, any extra power the alternator of the car makes while we're driving, it'll go into the batteries. So we've done that many times before, like especially in the winter where the light just isn't long enough in the day sometimes for how much we need. We'll just drive. Like that'll be the time that we choose to go to the next destination and just drive for a couple hours, and that'll help like top up the batteries. Anywho, so luckily we were at least able to do that day because our batteries were literally down to like, they were dead. Actually, we woke up that like Saturday morning, we woke up and the fans were off, like everything was off because the batteries had died in the night, which has actually never happened to us before. Like in all of our time, we've never actually had dead batteries. So that was when we were like, oof, this is not good. Anyway, so we just drove straight back down. We literally drove right past a mountain on fire and all of the Forest Service fire trucks and stuff, which was kind of scary. I feel for anyone in San Bernardino County, because the fire started right outside of, like right on the edges of San Bernardino. It's a pretty big city. So that was an adventure I didn't want to have this week. And then literally 2 more fires popped up over the weekend. So like there's another fire called the airport fire that popped up early Monday, I think due to like some city workers who were using equipment to like move boulders or something, and it was literally just like a spark, and it's already burned like 10,000 acres. I think the San Bernardino, like that one's called the Line Fire. Right now that one's burned, at least it was 30,000 acres yesterday. I haven't looked today. Yesterday it was 30,000 acres, and then the airport fire, which is literally right here in Mission Viejo, it's really close to us, is like 10,000 acres. And then there's another one closer to San Diego that's also burning pretty fast. So, oh, actually, am I doing this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, I got on autopilot. But yeah, so it sucked because my lungs, I have bad COVID lungs now, just from COVID. I have a lot of asthma like symptoms pretty frequently now. Whenever if I'm like having to do really hard cardio, like running, I feel it. If I'm not really easing into it, then I have burning lungs. And any kind of like pollutants like that, I really feel. So it sucked. Like the whole way down from Big Bear Lake, coming back, getting away from the smoke, I was just coughing and coughing. And then once we got back down, you know, the very next day, because that was Sunday night, the very next day, because we were gonna stay up there through Monday because Monday was still hot. It wasn't quite as hot as Saturday and Sunday, but it was like 88 degrees, so it was not great. But yeah, we didn't have a choice. So we came back down. The next day, the other fire started. So then I was like still suffering. And then my period started. So I was just calling it quits. I was so done with everything. I was like, well, okay, I'm just gonna take it easy. I'm gonna move slowly. I'm not gonna try to get my heart rate up or my breathing up because it's just gonna hurt. I was coughing for a few days. I think it's a little bit better now, just now that we've been like right on the water for a few days, because luckily there's always a breeze coming off the ocean. So the air's pretty clear here. Like the air pollutant levels are lower. They were moderate, and once you get away from the beach a little bit, they're moderate. So we've just been here every day where they're like the air quality's good. Yeah, that was like not a fun time. So our weekend was really strange because we were just literally, we spent like 6 hours driving all through Sunday. Saturday, was it Saturday? Anyway, I can't remember which day it was. I vlogged the whole thing because originally I had started making a vlog about like how we deal with heat because I thought that would be informative. And people liked my like how we deal with water, which was kind of also just a vlog that turned out to be about that because that's how the day that I vlogged went. But this one was a little more purposeful because since we saw the heat wave, we were like, well, I can at least make a vlog out of it. So I did film the whole thing, which will come out after the van tour that I have to finish editing. So I'm kind of getting behind on my videos. Long story long. But yeah, it was a really weird weekend, and I'm really back to today. The temperatures were good. Yesterday they were better also. I think it was Monday. Monday was 88, and then Tuesday was 83, and then Wednesday was 73. So much better, like how it should be this time of year. So I think we're back to like standard temperatures. It was just really strange. I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone, and we were just literally running from wildfires all weekend. And I'm just babbling. If anyone has anything to add, Donica, how's your shawl coming? Is this the same shawl that you were crocheting last time, like a couple weeks ago? And if so, how is it coming along? Ugh, I kind of love these like bigger, like more full coverage patterns where it's just one color forever. Because you can just kind of get into a rhythm and you have to think about it too much. Obviously they're not as exciting to look at because they're so simple, but I kind of want this one to be like color blocking. Just like very, like simple on purpose. Kind of like, I just know that that's like a more popular style for people who like more low-key decor in their house. Like not everyone likes full color big things. A lot of people don't, I think. So that's why I made it. But also it's just fun to stitch because it's so basic. And I'm doing 3 strands. I think that's the move. It looks better, I think. I need to make sure that they're kind of twisty. I need to make sure that they're not as twisty as they look right now. But it's a little harder with 3 strands to keep it untwisted. It's harder to see if they're too twisted or not. Oh, okay, cool. I can relate. I always have so many. I have an unfinished pair of socks and a cardigan that I'm still working on. Ooh, that was the one good thing about all that driving. Let me show you. I actually got through so much of my like knitting project. I can't do stitching. I have to focus too much on stitching. I have to look at it too much, and that makes me car sick. Same reason I can't like read or anything while we drive. I think we listened to Fourth Wing the whole way. Vincent's been reading the Fourth Wing series, so we listened to Fourth Wing a lot of the way, up and down Big Bear Lake. So we were listening to the book, and I was just knitting the whole time, because knitting I don't have to look at. But I actually got through, like, this is the back of the cardigan. I actually got through like so much of it. It's coming along. It'll be, once it's all like finished, it won't be quite so scrunchy, but I think it's gonna be so cute. So that turned out to be good. At least I could work on that and get through some of that. I'm excited about it. I even found like a new knitting technique because I was getting like this ribbing was getting annoying. The way that I knit is slower. The English style knitting is kind of slow for that ribbing, and so I was like getting really tired of doing it that way. So I learned it's called a Norwegian method for knitting, knit and purl, and it actually worked so good. It made it so much faster. So I kind of used that time to like learn that technique, which I think worked out really good. But yeah, cool. Donica, make sure to show me pictures when you're finished with your projects. So I just like to see what everyone's working on. I think it's so fun. And yes, I taught myself. I'm a really visual learner. I'm kind of like, I need to like trial and error figure it out for this kind of stuff. And generally I just end up coming up with methods that work really well for me because of my brain. My brain really likes to problem solve and really likes to find the most efficient method to do something. So that plays really well with, you know, figuring out stuff on your own. So yeah, I started with literally, I just got like the basic, you know, grandma knitting needles, and I got just like a really cheap skein of yarn, and I just started learning how to knit. Use the knit stitch and the purl stitch. I went until it felt a little bit more natural. And I tried different methods that I saw in videos for like how people were holding their yarn and stuff. And then I quickly got bored with that. I never even finished that scarf. I just undid it. It was just literally like, you know, what you do when you're learning. But I got bored with that really quickly, and I started working on some other like little projects that I didn't care if they turned out. But then my friend Jackie, she had taken up knitting the year before, and she was doing a lot of knitting. And she, for my birthday, got me some like fingering yarn, some really cute fingering yarn from like a dyer, and a pattern that we could like knit together. Like I was in Arizona building the van at the time, so we could like knit it together from afar. Which was really fun. So that was like my first real like project with like a pattern. Was it was just like a cute little like strappy tank top. It was like very basic, but it was a great thing to learn on. And I just had really cheap circular knitting needles from Amazon. And after that, I very quickly wanted to learn socks, because socks I just thought would be easy. They're not easy. I just thought they would be, but now I have a whole method. I don't even look at a pattern anymore. If I can just figure out how many stitches around I need your foot to be, then I do everything else just by eyesight. So now I think socks are super, like they're like my go-to thing when I want to knit. I don't usually do bigger projects because I just like, they just don't have space to put them as they're in progress very much. Donica, if it's helpful for you to like have someone demonstrate and like show you what you're doing wrong, then I think that that is a great resource. I do think that like the knitting community is really fun and very, very helpful. Excuse me, Vincent. Goose. I think that sounds great. There's been several times, like since I make it a point to go to local yarn shops, almost every time I'm in a yarn shop, there's other people in there and they're all helping each other, and it just seems very cute and wholesome. And I also love buying from local yarn dyers. That's the other thing that makes knitting, I think, a little bit trickier, is that since it's something you want to wear, you need a little bit, and it needs to like hold up to like stretch and stuff. Like it's not just, I feel like with crochet you can get away with more like polyester and acrylic, because each individual stitch is like its own little knot and it feels a little bit more sturdy. And knitting is just so like each stitch is dependent on the other stitches. Like this, for instance, this is actually acrylic because I specifically wanted something that wouldn't catch too much cat hair. But like this is like, it needs to be so stretchy and it needs to hold up. This is like, this is a low pill, specifically a low pill, like acrylic. So it's made for like friction, but that's the main issue, is that there's just so much more friction because it's stretchy. So, it ends up costing more, is what I'm trying to say. It's cost me a lot more. I mostly only make wool socks. Like I just use like wool fingering yarn. It's a great opportunity to like support local dyers, and there's a huge community of online yarn dyers, which make the coolest yarn, and a lot of it is fingering weight, which is like what mostly, I think that's the most popular weight for clothing. So once you get into it, there's just so much that you can do. It's just, I feel like starting knitting is kind of more expensive. One, because of the yarn, like I mentioned, but also just because of the needles. Like, the quality of knitting needles makes a huge difference. Whereas, like, I never was bothered with, like, the cheapest of cheap crochet hooks. Like, that was never something that I even felt like I thought about. But, the knitting needles I used, I quickly was so unhappy with. Like, I hated the knitting. It was like a cheap set from Amazon. I actually got bamboo ones first. I hated them because they were too sticky. Like, my style of knitting is pretty tight already. And bamboo, I learned, because everyone was like, it's great for beginners. It's not. It's great for people who are loose knitters, which you tend to be in the beginning as you're learning how to hold your yarn. But since I had already crocheted, that was the part that was easy for me, was like figuring that part out. So I was already a tight knitter, and the bamboo hooks the bamboo needles just like gripped onto the yarn way too hard and made it so like I just couldn't like go, you know. I kept having to like adjust my tension. So I hated those. I returned those immediately and switched to steel ones. But since you mostly do like circular needles, you know, and actually they weren't steel, they were probably like aluminum because they were cheap from Amazon. Just like a, you know, Chinese, straight from China kind of a set that was $30 for like a whole bunch of different sizes of circular needles. But the connections just aren't good if it's not high quality, if it's not like really well machined. You know, the little screwing parts and stuff, they just tend to bend and break really quickly. So I used that set for a while until I got sick of it. I can't remember if I gave it to Dana or not. I might have given it to Dana because I gave her like a whole knitting kit. I might have gifted that to her as a beginner set. But what I ended up buying was I had started using like little double pointed needles for my socks, which are they're just like a little, like literally just a little with 2 points so that you can stitch from both ends and as you like move around the yarn. I'd started doing that for socks, and so I'd already bought some sets from this brand called Chiaogu. It's also Chinese, but like they're super freaking high quality. Each double folded needle set was like $12 for like 5 needles that are all the same size. So it adds up really quickly if you're doing like a bunch of different sizes. But I loved those so much. I ended up asking for the whole circular needle set for my dad for like Christmas or my birthday or something. I think it was my birthday maybe. I can't remember. But I asked my dad for that for a gift. And those have been amazing. And that's the reason why I think I picked up knitting quickly, was because I was able to get the right tools, is what I'm trying to say. In a very long, drawn out story. I'm just talking to myself over here. Yeah, I love that set so much. I think it works beautifully. I actually have it right here. I'll show you. Yeah, Donica double pointing needles are incredibly intimidating at first. I still don't like using them. I really only use them when I'm starting my projects or ending my projects. Like if I'm doing like cuffs of sleeves that are too small for like a circular needle, or like, you know, like the toes of socks, that kind of stuff is the only time I use double pointed, because I actually also hate them. But I have little steel ones from Chiaogu. And then this whole set, I really am obsessed with these. They are so like nice to make. Or nice to make with, rather. They're just like, they're all like beautiful steel and so strong, and like they never bend. They're just like very, very strong. And they have like 2 different like cord sizes for the, like half of them are bigger and half of them are smaller. So you even get like a better connection because they, like the parts are all made for the right size cord, which was the problem with the other set. It was like, you know, needles that are this big and this big probably shouldn't have the same size of like little screw connector, because it's a very different like tension experience with like much bigger needles and bigger yarn. The other one all had the same, so of course the bigger one started to just bend the little metal bits on like the ends of the cords. So this one's really good for that. I love it. And then I have all my these are like my little sock needles that are the perfect like circumference for socks, which is why I love socks so much. They're so satisfying to just like go, 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 which is what I can do the whole sock with. Once I get past the toe, I can just do the whole sock on those little circular needles. So I love them. And I only use Chiaogu now. I will spend the money. I even have like doubles. I have like multiples of all my little circulars, so I can work on multiple pairs of socks at a time because that is something I am known to do. Yeah, I think that is the main reason why I'm thinking back, that's the main reason I never got into knitting as a kid, because it's like I couldn't afford to buy that. My parents couldn't afford to buy that. When I was a kid, like I bought all my own stuff. I used to buy all the acrylic yarn from Walmart and buy my own crochet hooks, and that was how I crocheted, which I did make a whole business out of. I made all these, I used to make these giant hair bows in my school colors in high school and sell them to all the girls for football games. That was how I made money in high school. So I did crochet professionally, technically, but it was with cheap yarn I got at Walmart that I would ride my bike over to buy. Like there's no way I was going to be able to afford like all of the tools necessary for knitting, especially for knitting well and quickly. So, of course, I never got into it until I was an adult and I could buy it myself or ask for it for my holidays with my parents, who are now no longer supporting underage kids, so they have a little bit more money to spend. Even embroidery, like I did some embroidery when I was like a kid, but not a ton. I mean, crochet was really the most economical like thing that I could do. The other like crafting thing I did was I was really big on the thrift store. This was before thrift stores were popular. But I had a friend with a car, my best friend, and she had wealthy parents. So she had unlimited gas, so she would drive everywhere. Everywhere that we wanted to go, she would be the driver with her unlimited gas credit card. And so we would go after school to the thrift stores all the time because she had a really quirky sense of style, and I did too. But she didn't know how to do any kind of tailoring, or like, any kind of adjusting really of clothes at all. So I taught her how to do all of that. And we would go to the thrift store and find just like the randomest stuff that we could do big sewing projects out of. And then she got a whole page in the school yearbook our senior year for her cool, quirky clothes, and I didn't get anything. So she was a popular one. I wasn't. That's why I was like, awesome. Thanks, guys. I was over here teaching her how to do everything she knew. She doesn't talk to me anymore. I think she might deal with like anxiety or something. She just doesn't tell me. So we were literally best friends. We even like right after we got married, she did a internship in Madrid under a knee surgeon. She was doing surgery stuff. And we were in France. We met up in Barcelona, and then they came to France too. Like we were close. We got married just like a month apart, or actually a few weeks apart. But once I left the Mormon church, she no longer talks to me. So I think that maybe her parents still have a tight leash on her. I'm sure that something like that ended up as a topic of conversation because I know that they had opinions about me. That is a tangent, but that's like one of the biggest annoying heartbreaks of my life, is like losing that friend, because she was the one that I did all the crafty stuff with in high school. Now I have other crafty friends that I love so much, but back then it was only her. So when I no longer had her to do it with, that was a little rough. Donica, I can't remember what I learned first. I think I kind of learned it all at once because my mom made us learn all of the kinds of sewing related things. So I'm sure that I did it. I know I still have my mom had a whole little sewing kit for us out of some vintage antique little jewelry box. It had all of our little sewing supplies. I know that somewhere in our storage we still have all of the little bits of fabric with buttons sewn badly onto them and stuff. And I know I have some really old little and tiny embroidery projects, very old, from when I was very young. I know I have some embroidery projects that my mom has saved. Because my mom also did cross stitch when she was really little, so she taught us really young. But I don't remember when I learned to crochet. I have no memories of learning to crochet. I literally can't remember, and I don't know if that's because I learned so young that I don't remember, or if it's because it just I don't know why I don't remember learning. Because I remember all those other things. Like, I don't know. But I think it was my grandma who taught me to crochet. Because her mom did a lot of that kind of stuff too. So I spent a lot of time with my grandma. Donica, yes, we did surf. Finally. Vincent, so, that's what we did Sunday? Anyway, one of the days this weekend, I literally have lost all sense of time. Vincent found, a new surfboard, new to us surfboard, which actually is so exciting because he had swapped with me. So like I had, originally, here, I'll tell you the story of our surfboards while we're here. I'm sure everyone who does not care about this is like bored out of their minds. Ooh, okay. Let me see. I need to count this really fast. But when Vincent first decided he wanted to learn how to surf, he got, I'm trying to do this blind. He found an NSP. It's an epoxy, like a hard board, but it's like a very beginner friendly style of board. NSP boards are like very beginner friendly, so they're recommended for people who are like transitioning from like the soft top boards that you kind of learn on, that you see at like Costco, like the $100 soft top Wavestorm or Jerry Lopez like Costco boards are the ones that like everybody uses when they're learning. Like that's like the classic, like the Wavestorm, the kooks on the Wavestorms. But so I didn't want to buy a Wavestorm because I knew that we would transition pretty quickly out of it, because Vince and I are both pretty physical and can like figure stuff out fast. So I knew it wouldn't last long. I can't do this blind. I'm gonna do it right. So right off the bat, he got an NSP, like a hard top board, because he had taken a few lessons. Like he was feeling pretty confident, and I found a soft top board that was like much higher quality. It's from like a actual surfboard brand, and it had an epoxy bottom and like real fins, and then just like a foam top. So it's like a little bit softer. You didn't need to wax it, but like it still rides a lot more like a real board. So that's what I started on, and I just honestly was like really overwhelmed by it. It was an 8-foot long board, and I think I really felt like it was so cumbersome in the water, and I was really struggling. Like I felt kind of like panicky because it's a little bit heavier and harder, and like it's just, yeah, it's not quite the same as like a true beginner soft top board. So I was really struggling, and so Vincent very graciously, because we can only fit 2 boards on the side of our van, like we really don't have storage room for more than 2 boards. So he very graciously offered to give up the NSP board that he had bought. It's like a 9'2" long board. He had very graciously offered to give that up, so that I could get a smaller board and he could ride the like foam, the Degree 33 foam board. So, which was very nice of him. I know it was a sacrifice to give up the NSP, but I was kind of desperate because I was just feeling so frustrated. And it was not fun to learn. I was really struggling. I couldn't pop up, and I was just like, I spent the whole time kind of like battling with this board in the water. So, we sold the NSP, for just a little bit less than we bought it for, which is good. We haven't spent more than $200 on any surfboards, and the NSP we bought for $200, and then we sold it for like $150. And then the Degree 33 foamy we also bought for $200, and we still have. And we bought a BroSurf one, which is just like a random brand. It was 7 foot instead of 8 foot, so it was a little bit a foot shorter, and it was way chunkier. It was more like a board that like a kid would learn on, but I am kid sized because I am like 4'11" and 100 pounds. So I realized like I don't need like a typical adult learner board, because I am not adult sized, and I can do like a kid size board and learn the same way. So that worked out really good, and I ended up like that board totally did it for me. I learned so much more quickly, and I really unlocked it for me. It was just easier to maneuver in the water. It was lighter, it was thicker, and it didn't give me any rashes or anything. It needed to be waxed a little bit, so I kind of could control the level of grip. It was a little more slippy where I wanted it to be, and yeah, it really worked well for me. So I have been riding on that 7-foot board for the last 2 months, and Vincent's been riding on the 8-foot foamy Degree 33 one. And he or I think last week I was like, hey, do you mind if we like swap out? Because I'm starting to feel like now it's the board holding me back. Like I'm able to pop up, but I wasn't able to do any kind of like maneuvering, like getting on and off the wave easier and like turning and all that stuff. So I was like, Vincent, do you mind if we swap for a day? That was last week. And so we swapped that day, and he had a little bit harder time on the 7-foot board, but like he didn't hate it. Like he could still get on waves, and I had like an amazing time. Like so, it was like the best day I've ever had. Like I was able to pop up over and over again and like it carved down these waves, and I felt so good, and like, oh, it was a great day. And I was like, okay, yep, it is time for me to transition to like the next board. So so last week we started looking, after all of our bills got paid, we started looking for a new board for Vincent. So we ended up finding one this weekend. We haven't always been really lucky at like being the first people to message people on Facebook Marketplace, but we have found that Facebook Marketplace is the best place for surfboards, just because like the resale market, there's just so many boards around here. And it's like not worth spending the extra money on like another middleman. Like I'd rather just go straight to like the person that's selling it and get it from them for, you know, 50 or 100 bucks cheaper than you're going to get it from like a shop or something. Even thrift stores like sell them for more expensive than you can get on Facebook Marketplace. So yeah, we were looking and looking. Vincent found one that looked good. It was another 9-foot board, which is about what we can fit comfortably on the van also. And that's a good size for him. It's like 3 feet taller than him basically. And 8-foot board is 3 feet taller than me. So that works out good. But yeah, we found this 9-foot board. It looked good. So we went to pick it up on our way out of town. I think that was Sunday or Saturday. I can't remember. One of those days on our way out of town, we went down and picked that up. And it was perfect. It's like this really cool, it's basically like a vintage board. It's made by this, like the name on it is Sakota, and it's this local legend, kind of a shaper who died last year. So his boards are, you know, officially like collector's items. You can't get them anymore. But he worked under, like he was like the lead shaper for one of the guys that like had some of the most popular like professional level boards. So like they're called Takayama. Like that is the brand that like a lot of professionals have used over the years, and they're also in SoCal. George Takayama is his name. Or Donald Takayama? I can't remember. I think it's Donald, actually. I don't remember anyone's first names because they're also just the board brands. But yeah, Bob Sakota was like the shaper for Takayama, and a lot of people who like lived through that era say like if you were riding a Takayama board, it should have just been called a Sakota board, because he did all the work, and Takayama would just like do a little light sanding and call it his. So a lot of people just like to buy directly from Sakota, and a lot of people have also said that that's like their favorite boards ever. So we didn't really know any of that when we bought it. It was the right size and it was the right price. It was $200. And Vincent looked it over before he picked it up, and it was in decent shape. It needed a little bit of patching, but yeah, so we figured all that out after we bought it, and we're just like, well, that's cool. Now it's when we actually want to take care of. It's beautiful. It's like orange and yellow. It's really cute. It just looks good in the water, and it's a good size. It means that like if Vincent wants to transition to another kind of board, I could probably ride that one too. And yeah, so that just worked out really good. We bought it off of this gal. 1, 2, 3. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We bought it off this gal. She was a little bit older, and she was clearing out her ex-husband's condo. He was moving into assisted living, so she was like cleaning out his stuff. So she didn't know much about it, but it had just been sitting in the garage for a long time because he hadn't ridden it in years and years. So it was just like just waiting for somebody to come back and start to use it again. And you know, straighten out my legs. I'm very sore because I didn't surf for a week, and then going out today was hard. But yeah, so we just chatted with her. It turns out she was like going to France in October. So Vincent was able to give her some recommendations. She was so sweet. I gave her a hug when we left because I just was like, I feel like I know you. Like we just talked so much while Vincent was checking out the board, and then she came out and saw the cats. It was just like a lovely interaction. Actually, every interaction we've had buying boards and stuff has been really pleasant. Like people are so friendly. Oh, it's Gooks. He's hungry. It's time for food. 1, 2, 3. But yeah, so that worked out so good. So we haven't, part of why we haven't gone surfing this week, even though it started to cool down, you know, Tuesday. One, my period started, and I don't necessarily feel like having to go through all of the hassle of dealing with that in the water. So I haven't surfed for a couple days. I was just like, this is fine. This is good timing. But Vincent also needed to do some patching on the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which requires like some fiberglass little sheet and like epoxy resin, and like sanding it, curing it in the sun, sanding it, multiple layers, and then like water testing it. So we've been working on that the last few days, and today was finally the day. So I was like, okay, I'll make it work. We went out surfing. I actually had a pretty good time. The water was really choppy today, so choppy because it was like 10 knot winds. So that was kind of annoying. Wasn't the funnest for that reason. It was better earlier. Like when we started, the waves were like boom, 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 and I was able to just like grab a bunch and just, you know, carve down them and have a good time. And then by the end of the session, there was like no waves and everyone's just sitting there like, well, there's got to be something. Like, everyone's kind of hopeful, but like nothing's showing up to ride. So it wasn't a consistently good day, but I was just glad we went. And I was kind of nervous that Vincent wouldn't. I was worried about how he'd feel on the board because he was worried that it would be like it wouldn't like be having a volume of foam to like hold up his weight. But he actually loved it. He said it's like butter and it's so easy to ride, and he had a great time. So all that being said, yes, we went surfing today. It was on a new board after all of that. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, and it was so funny because so we get to Big Bear Lake, right? We had put all of the boards in the van while we drove because they create more drag on the van on the highway. So we figured we would just like put them inside so that they didn't create that drag on our trip up. So we were literally in the grocery store parking lot. There's ash raining down from the sky, and we are putting the boards. Yeah, we're putting the boards, like the boards we want to keep, out on the van where they belong. The Degree 33 and the new cute Sakota board. And then we had this BroSurf one, the 7-foot one that we needed to get rid of because we didn't have space for it. But also it had started to bubble up on like one of the sides with the foam. It was like delaminated. Delamination is what it's called, but it had started to puff up. Probably like a little bit of water was getting in, and so then it would like, you know, the steam from like the heat outside would like make it bubble up while it was sitting on the side of the van. But yeah, we literally got to that grocery store in Big Bear Lake and we get the boards out, and this board is like, it's half of it is like delaminated at this point. And we leaned it up by the side of the van, and there's just like a puddle of water. Like it had full on like taken on so much water. Like that board was done. It was done. So it was really good timing that we got another board for Vincent because we could not have ridden that board again. Like it was trash. And we were trying to figure out what to do with it because we're like, we don't want to leave it. Like it's leaking 2-day-old seawater. Like we don't want to put it back in the van. And so as it was sitting there on the side of the van, we were inside trying to figure out what to do. We were like putting our shoes back on and saying like, okay, we gotta go. And we're like, I guess we just gotta like find a dumpster or something for that board. Like what are we gonna do? And there was this random guy that like walked up and was like kind of checking out the board. We could see him through the window, and I was like, Vincent, go tell him he can have it. Go now. And so Vincent's like putting his belt on and like, hey. The guy's like, oh, sorry. And Vincent's like, no, you want that board? Like we can't take it with us.
I realized my fly was down because I just
he was in the middle of putting his pants on. But yeah, the guy's wife was there, and she's like, no, honey, like we don't need this. And I'm just like, it's free. And she's like, thanks a lot. So her husband takes this like actively leaking board and straps it to the top of their car. He's like, that's great, man. They're telling us about like the past fires they've had in Bear Lake. They've been here since like 2003 or something. I've had to evacuate before. And they're like, this is kind of fun. He was like having a great time. We're like, well, enjoy your free board. So that worked out very well. We didn't have to throw it away. Someone else can throw it away if they can't fix it. But it's a $200 board. So it's worth trying to fix, I suppose, if you want a free surfboard. But yeah, super funny. I always think about that guy. I was wondering if I'll ever see him again riding that board. Donica, water temp pretty consistent. It is like it just steadily gets a little bit warmer through the summer. Like when we started surfing, I needed a 2 to 3 millimeter wetsuit. Like a full, head to toe wetsuit. And by the time it hit August, like August 1st, I would say, it was warm enough for like a spring suit. Like, so it's like a 1.5 millimeters thick instead of 2 to 3 millimeters thick. And it was just like long sleeves. And then my legs were uncovered. So then I was able to wear that through most of August, and then it's really only been the last week and a half maybe of August where it's been warm enough for me at least to just be wearing a swimsuit and like a rash guard. That is there's definitely people who can handle the cold better than me. Because I am not like a really proficient surfer, I spend more time sitting around waiting for waves I can catch and letting people who know what they're doing go ahead of me. So I needed something that would keep me warmer while I wasn't paddling around quite as much as some of the other people. So it's like, it's predictable in that way. I think that the water temperatures don't change too much. Today was the first day in a while I've needed a spring suit again. I got out on the water, but with the winds being so strong, it was actually kind of chilly, and we were just waiting so long between sets. I was like, I'm actually very cold. So I went back to the van and changed into into my spring suit from my I was just wearing like a bikini and rash guards. So I think it'll steadily start to get colder again. I'll be back in like my full wetsuit probably by October, is what I'm thinking. I think the warmest it gets is probably like 73, 74 degrees. And the coldest temperatures we've been in have been in like the low 60s. So it doesn't get freezing. I'm sure it does further north, but in SoCal it doesn't get freezing. It kind of goes between like, I think 55 to 75 are like the water temperatures throughout the year is probably what it ends up being. So it's nice because you don't need like the thickest, biggest wetsuit ever around here. But you do need several options throughout the year. It is expensive. We've had good luck with finding deals, but that has been like a good cost this summer. Hi, Mary. Nice to see you. Donica, yeah, it is chilly without the right equipment. I was really glad I just bought a wetsuit right away when I wanted to learn because I would have been so miserable. It's so funny because literally right when we decided to start to learn how to surf, we had just done a family trip here in Carlsbad that we boogie boarded all day, and like the water temperatures were the same. We boogie boarded all day with my siblings, and I was just wearing like a bikini or a one-piece swimsuit, and it was fine. The water's like chilly when you get in, but then you get going. It's just like boogie boarding and spending a lot more time on the beach. You just are so much warmer than like being hundreds of feet away from the shore and with like the wind and just like having your legs in the water nonstop. So I didn't realize how different it would feel. And I'd never really worn I think I've done snorkeling or something like once when I was a kid, but I'd never really worn a wetsuit before. So I didn't really know what to expect, but I'm really glad I just bought one right off the bat because it does make a huge difference. Like today, I was like really shivery after a few minutes with the wind. And as soon as I went and put on my wetsuit, I was like totally fine. Like I was actually almost too warm. It was like, you just don't have to think about it when it's like doing its job, which is really nice. So everyone would pretty much wears wetsuits. I see I don't know, there's like those, hot SoCal girls that have been surfing forever that wear bikinis, but I do not see very many bikinis out here. It is mostly people with some coverage, which I appreciate because I don't think I'll ever be like a bikini wearer while I'm surfing. It just, one, you're way too worried about wardrobe malfunctions and tops falling off as you get wiped out, but also it's just so much rubbing. Like I get like rashy, I still have a rash healing right here from rubbing, and that's just not my vibe. It's not for me. Hi Mary, how are you doing, by the way? What are you working on? I'm just talking about my day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that is one thing that I love about surfing is that even if you're not good at physically riding a wave, there's something about like putting on the equipment and like having the gear that almost like helps with some of the imposter syndrome. I think like it makes you feel like you belong there just because you've kind of put the money in and the effort in to like get the wetsuit on and whatever else. So I think it's helped with my imposter syndrome. Like once I'm out there, wearing the right stuff, I'm using the right kind of board. Like I feel so much more confident than I would if I just like showed up unprepared. It really helps me mentally, at least, because it is such a social thing. Like especially when you're a beginner on a foamy like I am, people are not as patient with you. Oh, sorry, this is blurry. Oops. Like you can, I feel like you can tell. Like some people just like really want to have their session and don't want to be interrupted, and it's like, well, you got to share the waves, and they just glare at you as you have to cut them off at some point because they take every single wave, and you're like, well, if I'm gonna catch any, it has to be now. So you just gotta jump on it, let them glare at you. Merry trivia this evening. We're gonna cross over bunny in a floral book. That's very cute. Send a picture on the Discord if you're still on it. Get back on it if you're not. I think the link is in the description of this live stream. Daniel, sorry, I'm just catching up to your message. I realized you sent it and I forgot to ask. Where are you sending it? Are you like getting it printed? Because that's cool, and you know what to get me for Christmas in that case. I don't even know. Me and my siblings, we have 7 siblings, like step and half and full siblings, in our family. So we don't do gifts for every single sibling every year. We've always done like each kid is assigned another kid, and so like with 3 of us are married now. So like we'll do couples, you know, like if there's like, it's not just for like my stepbrother would still have my name, but it's for me and Vince. It's like a family gift instead. But anyway, so I don't know who Daniel has for Christmas. I don't know who I have for Christmas. I need to ask my mom. So I take that back, Daniel. If you don't have me for Christmas, don't worry about it. But I still want to play your game. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is a lot of counting. I think I just need 4 more. That's very fun. I'm gonna look. Oh, excellent. Yeah, that is good advice, Mary. It is very bright. It's awesome, Danny. Are your professors still enamored with you? Cool. I didn't know that. Can anyone do that? I think that's so fun. Are you gonna pay for that? That's a big project for a college kid. But it's very fun. I've like really wanted to design a tarot deck or like an oracle deck. I love them so much. I love the artistry and like the thought that goes into them, and like the descriptions of everything are so fun. I just feel like it's like so many fun things. I have a bunch of decks. I have a Buffy deck that I love so much. And I have both of Fez Inkwright. It's like my favorite oracle deck creator. They have the Seed and Sickle and Citadel oracle decks that I'm obsessed with. They're so fun. And then I have like Everyday Tarot that's like really simple. Vincent has a cool like black and white kind of severe looking one. I have a bunch of other decks in storage. Those are the ones that I have with me. But it just seems like such a fun concept, which is similar to game design, but it's just cards instead of a board. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, one more. It's been on like my to-do list someday down the road forever. Vincent, he used to work at like the bookshop / language learning place. He used to work in New York while we lived there. There's this gal who worked the desk who was an artist, and she just like a little side project that she did was a whole tarot deck based on what was it called? Is it the War of the Roses? I can't remember. It was this whole scandal involving poison that happened, I think it was Louis the 16th, Louis the 14th's court. I can't remember all the details, honestly. But it's all like, so it's like real historical like figures and this like crazy story of like this whole court, kind of like this scandal in this court that is historical. And the whole tarot deck is like around that. So it's like all the characters from that, and then like the booklet like tells the story, and all the art is like kind of grotesque and crazy looking. It's like very like medieval, you know, weird bodies and lots of like naked French women, and it's just very fun and crazy. But Vincent got me that. I can't remember, for one of the holidays. I love it so much. It's like that was like, man, I want to do a project like that. It just seems so fun. That's awesome, Danny. I think you totally should enlist your friends, because then you can all play it together, so it's like they're investing in something that they can also do. Oh, cute. There's this tarot deck that I keep seeing that I want to get so bad. It's like an 8-bit. I'll find it on Etsy right now. It's literally so cute, little pixel art, and it's like a tiny, there's a cute one that's bunnies too that I like. Oh, I love it. I love it so, so much. I have them saved on my Etsy. I also have one that is the prize for someone on their birthday that I can't show you, but I wish I could, because I'm gonna show you. It's also so good. I just don't want that person to end up buying it. But I don't think they're on tonight, so I think we're safe. Let me see. All of you should, if you like tarot decks, you should get this one. This one is adorable. It's called the Maker's Tarot, and it's all for crafty people. It's so cute. It's like fun, bright, and has like metallic green like edging, which is just special. And all of the art is so fun. Like the major arcana is like all just like crafty related things, and like the suit of wands is all like needles, like knitting needles and sewing needles. Ugh, I love it so much. Suit of swords is like all different kinds of like knives and chisels and like stuff that you'd use for like different kinds of art. It's so fun. I'm obsessed with it just because it's so cute. And then the 8-bit fantasy. Look at this little tiny deck. It's this little cute little block of, oh, I love it so much. And look how cute it is. It's like the classic art, but just like 8-bit. I think it's so cute. I'm like, all of these would make cute cross-stitch patterns. Yeah, Mary, I'm the same. Like, I'm not a believer. I'm always afraid to say atheist, because I just feel like I've been burned by strong belief before. So now I probably would always say I'm agnostic, because I just don't know. But I don't think that there's anything mystical about it. I do think that it's great for memory recall, and it's great for centering and like focus. If you're kind of like just letting your subconscious tell you what it needs, like what needs to happen, then I think it can be very helpful for that. But 1, 2, 3, 4 is it? Oops. I feel like I'm off. I'm off by 1. Hopefully I'm not off on one of these other things that then I have to redo. I'm gonna count really fast. Nope, I'm good. 3, 1, 2. Oh, I'm off by 1, but it's fixable. It's not something I have to go redo. I just need to add 1 more over here. And then add 1 more on the other end. Okay guys, we're good. I should have been 4 instead of 3 on that little bit. But I think I love sets of things. Like sets of things all together is magical to me. And I love like the cohesiveness of like a thoughtful deck of cards that all have like meanings that all like play together really well. I think that is like, it just really does something for my brain. And I kind of like the mysticism of like pulling a card and like, what does it say? To me, it's the same maybe of like in my like past very Christian life of like opening the scriptures and like whatever like verse you see is like what you needed to hear. It's like that, except it's just you, and it's like led by you, and it comes from you, and like it just is like it's like a practice in like trusting yourself and like listening to like your own inner voice, which I find very healing to like learn how to trust my own voice and not feel like there's something else that's like magically giving me secret messages that I'm supposed to interpret. So I think that like that's probably why it works for me. It's like replacing a practice that I did really love before with something that's like a little bit more self-led and not based in a belief in anything higher. Cute. See, I actually have had on my to-do list forever to do I wanted to do like a Wheel of Time set of not Wheel of Time, Wheel of the Year set of cross stitch patterns, and so it'd be like 8, you know, for like the cyclical equinoxes and all of the things of the year, because I don't really do Christian holidays anymore, and all the Christian holidays are based on pagan holidays anyway. So like Yule and Ostara and all the things Beltane. Lammas is my favorite. It's in August. It's also called Lufthansa, and it's literally the celebration of the harvest, and you just eat bread. All kinds of bread. Anything wheat, pasta, bread, beer. It's like my most favorite concept I've ever heard of in my life. I love it. But yeah, I've wanted to do like a whole set of cross stitch patterns with that. And then I also was like long-term project wanted to do like cross stitch patterns for all the like the major arcana of the tarot deck, which is like similar to that. It's just a big project and it's overwhelming to try to figure out how to make it cohesive, so I haven't started it. But I have ideas. Mary, you can pull off anything. You're so crafty and creative. It would probably just take longer to figure out how to do it. But you could do it. Cute. I love that. I think you should totally do that. I think that's brilliant. Here's what I do if I'm feeling like I want to create something and I'm kind of overwhelmed. What I do first, I will tell you, this is how I also do a lot of cross stitch patterns, is I'll first go into like something like Canva that has like a ton of clip art that's accessible, and I'll just literally like make like a kind of a clip art, like kind of just hodgepodge, like, you know, literally just collage it, like what I kind of am thinking, like get kind of like the basic shapes and stuff, like where they need to be, and like play around with it like that. And then I literally will go in and like make it my own and trace it, turn it into a cross stitch pattern, whatever. But I usually start with clip art and like lay it all out the way I want it. That's a way that you could start that would like, you'd be able to do whatever you wanted with it, add whatever stuff on top, you know, just layer up your clip art and then turn it into like its own thing. That's what I do all the time. Most of my cross stitch patterns have like really janky looking Canva projects behind them. Yeah, Mary, that's exactly it. Like, take your reference pictures. You can even like just like, you know, like do the background remover and like just put it all together like exactly the way that you want it, and then like trace it or like do whatever you need to do from there to like turn it into whatever you want. Make it like an actual stained glass thing. That would be fun too. I don't know anything about stained glass, so can't help you on there. But I feel like I know, like usually when people would have like a pattern that they would like something where they could like, you know, lay it on top and weld it all together. I feel like that's how it would be, right? Is it solder or weld? I think it's solder. I don't actually know. But that's where I would start. And I think you could totally do it. I think that sounds so fun, and I haven't seen that anywhere, so it's an original idea. You should jump on it while you have it. So twisty. Must fix. Too much twist. There we go. Makes the thread too thin if it's twisted. And I want it to be more full coverage. Oh yeah. Do that. I'm a supporter. Do it. I say this mostly because like that was like I started last year drawing again. Once I got my iPad, and I got my iPad because I had started making cross stitch patterns, and it's so much easier to draw cross stitch patterns with like the iPad pencil and like just draw it than it is to do it on the computer, like click, click, click. I really don't like doing things digitally as much as possible. So I got the iPad for that, but then I was like, well, Procreate is $8 and I should really be drawing because like I was literally in college for illustration. Like I've been an artist my entire life and I wasn't doing a lot of art. So I was like, well, this is my opportunity to like, maybe now it's finally time to transition to digital because I live in a van and I don't have space for, you know, all the stuff I'd usually have on hand, but I want to do it. So I started learning Procreate, which, you know, it's not easy. Like it's not like it's been super easy to do, but it is the reason that I was able to then do so many cross stitch patterns. Because I just started learning how to draw again. So I do like a good combination of like clip art and okay, I'll show you this pattern that I'm working on right now. For instance, I just drew myself. I'll show you it. It's like here's like how the final pattern is. I started checking it off, so it looks weird now. But done. This is like the final pattern, you know, minus the stuff I've checked off in the middle. But like the original Procreate was this. I just drew this. It was so basic, but like easy to draw and like really simple. But even this was really hard. At the time, like I'm not good at digital. It's really hard for me to remember all the tools that I have at my disposal that make it great. So it was really hard to do, but like I figured it out. And that's like how I've done a lot of my patterns, is just starting with that. But I've only been able to even do that because I had access to it. I could figure it out from there. I've had some really not good looking art too, so. This is as close as I got to doing any kind of painting. I'll show you. It's not cute. I gave up. I was like, I hate this. Everything, why does this feel so hard? Like color blending and figuring out colors so hard. That's where I left this gal. Never finished her. But that's where like being able to trace and having like a reference is so much easier. So I love doing like a reference on Canva and then going and doing the art in Procreate from there. That's how I do most of it now. Like this was just like a basic painting with some clip art. Like all the edges was just like clip art that I stuck in there and like edited. But this was like a basic one that I did for like my Childless Cat Lady pattern that I started. This was like the original. It was like based off of literally clip art of a gal with a cat, and then I repainted it to be colors that I wanted, and obviously changed up a lot of how everything lays anyway, because it needs to be blocks of color instead of individual little tiny bits of color. So a painting doesn't really work anyway. But yeah, and then I added her hat and like changed her clothes, and I just kind of winged it. But I started with clip art. I almost do nothing from scratch anymore because there's no point. Let's see. Is this the 2-strand? No, 3-strand. But yeah, that's how I make it work. I think I really psyched myself out thinking that digital painting was so hard because I wasn't using enough references. Classic mistake. People do that all the time in real art too. It's just like people forget that like all artists use references like constantly. It's just in digital, you can literally just put them in there and trace it almost. Like it's so much easier. But it has been a real learning curve. That was like something that I was excited to do, but it's been hard to transition to digital. It really has. I still have a sketchbook that I really prefer. I really love doing like, I'll find random like figure drawing websites where they'll just like have a timer for you and have a bunch of reference photos, and you can just like do like the quick, which is what I did in or what was my favorite thing to do in college, like my illustration classes, my figure drawing classes. My favorite part of it was doing like the quick, just knock it out, like you don't have time to think kind of figure drawing, where like you literally are changing poses every like I think we'd start with like 30 seconds and then a minute and then 5 minutes and then 10 minutes and then 30 minutes. Like that's how we would do the classes, like series of that. So like we'd end with like kind of doing a more like finished looking piece. But we'd start with just like the loosest of figure drawing. And it was so, I really, really enjoyed that. I felt like it was a lot easier for me to really flex my creative muscles doing that. So I'll just find random websites that do that, like digitally. Like they just put up a picture and you just go. And then when the picture changes, you immediately switch to the next thing. And that's been my favorite. That's where it's fun to be able to do it digitally because I can just like have it up on my computer screen and then have it like my iPad. I can just go. And I don't have to worry about like wasting paper. I don't feel bad. Like I don't have to worry about like, I like to save everything. I like to see my progress. I like to see like what I've made in the past. I have all my sketchbooks from all my years. And I feel like I would be sad if I couldn't save like some of the stuff that I've done. So that's one reason why I think digital, like in the van, has been a real godsend because at least I can keep everything that I do because it's digital. But that's been really the only reason that it's been better. It's just the storage space. Otherwise, it also has still been kind of a struggle. I'm just not confident with it. I forget stuff. Like it's hard. Let me see. I think there's something. What was I working on? Oh yeah. I was thinking about turning my we all get some kind of haunted like that pattern into like a design that I could do on like a print on demand. Like I have a bunch of tote bag design, not a bunch. I have 3 tote bag designs. I have a Taylor Swift one. I have a Twilight one, which I actually love. It does get ordered quite a bit. I think it's hilarious. It says this is the skein of a knitter Bella instead of this is the skin of a killer Bella. And it's just literally a sparkly skein of yarn that I drew myself on like a black bag. But I have that one. I have like Cowboy, like Dancing is a Dangerous Game from like Taylor Swift's Cowboy Like Me. But I was thinking about doing like one with the ghosts, but I was struggling so much with drawing them. They're so simple. Like it's the most simple cross stitch. And I was like, I struggled. I'll show you how far I got before I kind of like called it quits and never came back to it. This is as far as I got. I was like, this kind of like simple illustration is so hard for me. Like just like smooth lines, forget it. I hate it. Oh my gosh. It's like not like this kind of simple illustration is just not for me. It actually looks cute. Like it looks fine. I was looking at it. I was like, this is so boring. Like this isn't cool. This isn't fun. Like this is just so bland. I do so much better with like painting. And like looser. I do better with looser stuff. Like this was like some of my fast like figure drawing. Like I can draw things that are realistic. I really struggle with like simple illustration. Like illustration, bad. This, fine. I can do this all day. Like show me something that I can draw it. But woof. It's tricky. Mary, yes. And the cool thing is that you can edit brushes to like be whatever you want them to be. Donica, have a good night. So fun chatting. I always love seeing you. It's so fun that you're here every week. See you next week. I try. It's the only thing I'm good at. Oops. It's really the only thing I've ever done. But Mary, yeah, so for instance, like I've been doing hand lettering on all of my YouTube thumbnails. That's just like something fun I started. So I like built my own brush that was like very smooth. I'll show you actually. It's kind of fun to see, I think. This is a janky way to do it, but let's see. We're gonna do our best. My Apple Pencil has a 9% battery, so this will be quick. But like you can really control. You can definitely control stabilization. So like I love it for lettering because it's just so, you can make it so smooth. Let me see, scoot that out of the way. I call it, it's like in the monoline brush in Procreate, and then I just like made it my own. I like made it more stable. Let's see. So it like really, it like does it for you. Like it's so, everything is smooth. Like even if it's still smooth. So it makes all of my lettering look like so nice. Like it's beautiful. It's easy to do. If I was just using like, they have a bunch of inking brush, like there's like gel pen brush. You can do all kinds of stuff that looks really cool. Let's see. Studio pen maybe. Nah, dry ink. Basically everything looks better on here. But yeah, like you can do pretty much anything with it. I love it. So like, yeah, it can do exactly what you want it to do. Any level of stabilization, any level of smoothing. So yeah, like that monoline brush that I made, it basically just like any little doop that I do, it like really fixes it. Actually, Twizzlers sounds so good. I'm starving. I again did not eat enough today because I got busy. Well, I woke up late, first of all. So when we were gonna go surfing, it was kind of like, gotta go now while it's good. And I'm glad we went when we did because it got a lot worse after we were out. But, so I had like my coffee and then I just had like, I literally had spoonfuls of cottage cheese. I was like, what's something that I can eat super fast? I didn't want to have cereal because cereal's just literally air and carbs. So I was like, I need protein. So I just literally had spoonfuls of cottage cheese straight out of the container before I went surfing. And then afterwards I had a bowl of cereal. And then I forgot to eat anything else because we got busy. So we're gonna do our typical McDonald's tonight again. Do you hear that? Someone's doing something stupid in the parking lot. Yeah, Mary, Procreate's $8. If you have like an iPad and like a pencil, it's a no-brainer. I think it's so fun. I love it. I can't imagine using anything else, that's for sure. Especially because everything's so much more expensive. But yeah, Procreate's great for that. You can do quite a lot of layers. You can also, a lot of people who do art, they will like sell brush sets. They're driving around us. That makes me so nervous. This is our house. Please don't run into our house. Do you hear that, Vince?
Hmm?
Do you hear the person doing donuts in this parking lot?
No.
They just drove right past us.
Oh.
Get off my lawn. Anyway, Vince is laughing at me. There's been some really cool, there's like this craft tone. Okay, I have to show you this too because it's so freaking cool. So like you can do textured brushes with like all kinds of textures, basically. And there's this company that basically designed this like method of doing things that look like the really old print style, where it's like, you know, like the three like cyan, magenta, and yellow, and like they, you know, like in old printing, like for comic books and stuff, where like it'd just be like it's all dots and like sometimes they're a little bit off, and so like you can kind of see like the individual colors that are printed in these like old dot kind of style. It's super cool looking, and I found there's this company, it's called Craftone. They make brushes that mimic that, and so you can make any kind of color. You just have like, let me show you. It's just so freaking cool. I have to show you because it's hard to describe. But sorry, I keep getting distracted. Stitching's boring. Let's talk about this instead. Okay, but it's cool. So I have all of the brushes. So like they have like an ink set that just is like, they have an ink set that just does like good lines that like kind of look like printed lines. But then they also have all these different like dots, and they're different levels of coverage. And so you can make any color using the dots, like yellow 100%, yellow 4%, yellow 3, like yellow 2. And you just do the combination of percentage of colors, and it's all based on print. So you're just literally drawing it into like create the colors. I think it's so cool and fun. I think it's like, I just love it so much. Yeah, Vince. My computer's gonna die. Plug it in. Sorry, Vince had the wrong cord plugged in and I didn't notice. There we go. Let me see if I can do it really fast. It's the coolest thing ever. I love it so much. But it's very fun, and it kind of, because the colors are limited, I think it kind of like flexes your creative muscles a little bit. There we go. Because they give you all the different, they give you dots and lines, so you can choose like the kind of print style. Like there's the lines, and let me see. There's the dots. There's the dots. So you can do like lines or dots as like the printing style, depending on what kind of look you want. But change the battery. I'm just gonna turn it off. We'll do this. I'll change it in a sec. But they also give you like the original colors. So I shouldn't bite that. So it's great because you just do like the percentage, like the correct brush for the colors that you're trying to make, and it just does it for you. Sorry, hon, thanks. I can't get this battery out because the camera's in here too good. We're gonna get there, folks. We're gonna get there. Equipment, man. Literally, it's so much harder having to set all this up every time than just having my desk and everything ready to go like I had in New York. I miss it. Sometimes. I'm grateful to live in a van and stay by the beach every day. The amount of setup and takedown, not so fun. I'll show you those in a sec though. I just think it's freaking cool. And you can just do the coolest comic book looking stuff or like really cool lettering. It's just so freaking fun. I love it. Okay. There you go. And you just have you have the colors pre-programmed. Like you can make palettes in Procreate. So I just I have like the craft tone right there. Oops. Right there, the craft tone colors. It's really fun. Let me see. Let's do lines because I like lines. And let's do like a mixed color. So we're doing like yellow, 50% yellow. Let me turn the brush way up. It's like 50% yellow lines. Easy. And then I could add, they have like a whole like color code system so that you can see like what colors you're making, because it just creates like such a specific effect. And then we'll do, and you have to do the different brushes because like the texture's like offset a little bit, which is how it like creates like the look. We'll do cyan 20%. So then then you have green, right? Like that basically makes green. And then, what if I added magenta? Let's see what happens. Now I want to know, because I actually don't know what I'm making. Maybe also magenta 20%. So you end up with it's like all the colors together. And then you could use that to make you just fill it in with anything. Like craft tone inkers, I'd want to do black, probably. It's just I just think it's so cool. This is not a good example of it, but it is very fun. And the other inkers look like print also. So it's really cool. You can do so much. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's the funnest concept to be able to make something that looks like print. They have some really good examples on their website too. Way better than what I just made, but it is just fun because it's limiting. I like anything that limits you to less tools because I get really overwhelmed with too much stuff to mess with. Which is one reason why digital painting is so hard, because there's so many things to know and so many ways to do it and so many different methods and different it's too much. So I like things that kind of make it seem a little bit less daunting, I think. Can I zoom this in more? There we go. Mary, that's probably what I'd be better at. I keep wanting to do more illustrative, because I feel like it's my obligation as someone who paid to learn that. I keep feeling like I want to learn it digitally. I never got to the digital painting classes before I dropped out of college. So, I never learned, but so many of my classmates were already doing it, and I still am envious of how beautiful it looks. Like, Sam does art. He's like a really big YouTuber and Instagrammer. You've probably seen his stuff. He makes the most beautiful digital paintings, and he has a whole bunch of like if you're on his Patreon, he just literally will share with you like all of the like the raw files of like what he made that week. So you can just literally go look exactly what he did and what brushes he used and like how he did everything, which is, I think, very cool. So I always am like looking at that kind of stuff, thinking about it. I haven't figured it out fully yet. Plus I haven't had an outlet. I think that like that's one reason I like want to do a tarot deck or do more like print on demand designs, because at least it would like give me like a focus and like a reason to learn. I think it's probably part of the reason why it's been a struggle. Okay, Daniel, let me look. More advice. Yeah, Daniel, once you get into the world of colors, I think that green's better. It just needed to be a little bit softer. Daniel, do you have like a palette of all of the colors that you've used? Sometimes having them all together really helps. And actually, if you need help with color, you know what you should do? There's this website, I'll put it in the chat right there. I keep accidentally opening Chrome when Safari is better for this application. It's called Cooler, and it helps with color palettes. That could really help you. That could really help. That's what I always do, like when I do this all the time for like for cross stitch patterns too. Like if I really want like a specific look and vibe, I'll usually just I'll like go here and plug in like, it's just the RGB codes of the colors, and then it can generate like you can just hit next and like generate other colors that would look good with it. So it can help with narrowing down and maybe helping you see it all together, and then also narrow down like maybe some ideas for maybe shades and colors that you wouldn't have thought of just by looking at it. I use that all the time. I hope it's helpful. I think that green is like much better though. It's closer to like the tones of the other colors. I spend a lot of time with color palettes now that I'm doing patterns, just because like each color is a new thread, and so I'm always thinking through like what's reasonable for like the amount of colors I want to include in a pattern, which means that everything always has to be like much more cohesive than I used to need to think about. If you're just doing art, you can do as many colors as you want, but not for patterns. So I've had to figure out that quite a bit. But I really like that website. I use it all the time. I've used it for all my branding too. Just good for brainstorming. Still hear that person doing donuts. You can hear them, their tires squealing. It's so annoying. It's kind of scary. Ooh, have you guys been reading any good books lately? Mary, I don't know. I can't remember if you read a lot or not. I can't remember if I was reading a lot last time I was live streaming. I feel like I might not have been reading as much. I was writing more is what I was doing. But I am very much in a reading phase right now. And I listened to an entire book yesterday while I was working on all my floss organization. And I'm halfway through another one today. So tell me if you have any good books. Murderbot? What is that? I have not heard of that. But it sounds fun. Four, 3. I just have been reading. I love recommendations from people. I tend to read things that are recommended to me more than I read stuff on my own just randomly. But I do love to walk through Barnes and Noble and see if anything catches my eye. I've read a few good books just from things that have caught my eye on Barnes and Noble's shelves. That's the one I'm reading right now. It's called Youth Juice. It's like a horror book about this beauty company where they actually like kill and eat people, I think is what it's gonna end up being. But it's kind of fun. Sci-fi series about a security robot who's become self-aware. That kind of sounds fun. I think I love that kind of stuff. Vincent's reading a book, or has been reading a little series. It's like really short books, but what's the series called? What's that series like about the monk and the robot? What's that series called? It's so good, but it's a similar concept.
A Song for the Wild Built.
A Song for the Wild Built. It's kind of like a little more philosophical than anything else.
It's only a 2-book series, and it's like 160 page per book, so it's very quick.
Yeah, but it's actually so good. But it's similar. It's like it's in a world where like robots have gained sentience, and it's like in the future, where this monk is trying to figure out the meaning of life in this world after robots have become sentient and left civilization and made their own civilization away from humans. And this monk is trying to figure out the meaning of their life, and they come across a robot in the woods, and the robot hasn't had any contact with people, and this monk hasn't either, and like they go on a journey to like discover themselves together. It's very sweet. But it's funny because there's that, and then there's like that robot movie that's coming out. I think it's a Pixar movie. It's also like a robot crash lands. Is it DreamWorks? I can't remember. But there's that one that's coming out soon. There's so many robot related things that have come into our lives lately. But that sounds fun. The book I finished yesterday, it's a thriller. If you don't like crime horror thriller, then you won't like it, because it's kind of a hard read at times. Oh, Vincent, I finished it, so you can read it now, by the way.
Was that book that you were talking about?
Yeah, I borrowed it on Libby, so Vincent can listen to it after me, because it's not available anywhere else to listen to. You could read it on Everand, or I think actually on Kindle Unlimited also, but I wanted to listen to it anyway, so I borrowed the audiobook on Libby. But it's like, I can't even say that much about it, because it's like, it gives away the plot in like the first chapter. But it's just like these sisters who have a missing sister, and after the death of this dude, all the stuff starts to come up about their missing sister, and like at the end you get all the answers, which is what I like about books like that. I really don't like unfinished crime dramas. But I've been on a real true crime kick, so that book fit right in with that. My sister recommended it, and her recommendations always surprise me, because she always seems like, Colette, if you ever watch this, don't take this the wrong way, but she seems more vanilla than her reading would lead me to believe. Like, she always has surprising taste for me in what she reads, which I think it's because she's in a book club, so it's stuff that like she wouldn't always pick, but her recommendations are always like really good. So that one. There's also Verity by Colleen Hoover. I can't stand Colleen Hoover, but Verity was actually a pretty fun read. There's been some other ones that Colette's recommended that are really good, so Pretty Girls was a good one. It's by Karen Slaughter. But I do love a thriller, and I love fantasy, obviously, but and fanfic, yeah, Mary, I have 3 fan fictions I'm in the middle of right now. I'm trying to catch up on my reading goal, so I was like, I have to read some shorter books, because like fan fiction is so freaking long sometimes. At least the ones that I end up picking. I don't really like short ones. I think I like a good, long, slow burn with many, many chapters. So I end up reading, hundreds of thousands of words books, fan fiction, stories. So I have to throw some shorter ones in there so I can actually keep up on my reading goal, because I'm so far behind right now. I just wanted to read like a book a week this year, but then I keep picking the longest books on planet Earth, so too much. I read Manacled this year. Read Crescent City this year. Very long. Too long. I'm gonna do this really fast. I am reading a Twilight fanfiction. I had started it a few weeks ago. I probably mentioned it in a past live stream, but I actually am loving it. I think it's very good. It's a rewrite of the original book. So like it follows the original lore and like all the original stuff, except it's just way better written. It's like written for like a 2024 audience, I would say. And like the author is like actively working on it right now. So like they're coming out with parts still. Like I think they're in the middle of Eclipse at the moment. So it's just freaking good. It's like Bella has way more of a character. Edward has way more of a character. Like just they're way more fleshed out. Like so much more interesting. And the writing is better. And like they took away some of like the really non-PC stuff right now. That is like, I'll give you one example that's like not giving anything away. This is called Into the Afterlight. Let me see. It's on my. I have like my Notion that I keep track of all my reading. Let me look and see what it's actually called. It's ongoing. She's in the middle of Eclipse right now. I don't actually know if I don't know their gender. The author is in the middle of Eclipse right now. They're releasing chapters for that. So the first 2 are done. And I think that it branches off more as you go because the story is very slow and it's not, by the time you get to Breaking Dawn, it's not good. So I think that they're writing it better. Yeah, it's In the Afterlight by Garbanzo Praise. I will put it in the Discord. I'm going to put it in general discussion. Rewrite fanfic. In the Afterlight by Garbanzo Praise. But yeah, so far I love it. Like Edward actually gets excited talking about music and like talks about it too much, and Bella does art and gets into trouble. And like, okay, so one example of how I think it's better. It's on AO3. It's like new. It's still coming out, so it's not. A lot of the Twilight fanfictions are, I think, very like kind of outdated. Like a lot of them are on fanfiction.net, and I'm having a hard time reading them because the writing just isn't great because it was 2008. So this one's really nice because it's newer. But yeah, like some of the main complaints, right, with like Twilight, for instance, stuff that's like just totally non-PC right now, and that I think you just shouldn't do is like the way that Stephanie Meyer basically just like bastardized all of like the Native American tribal lore and stuff. Like that is like something that never would have passed. Like it never would have been made now the way that it was. But it was because it was, again, what was it, 2004, 2005? I think it was 2005 when the first book came out. So like in this rewrite, like Bella's still at La Push at the beach. She's still talking to Jacob. She's still getting the information about maybe Edward and his family being vampires. But instead of it being like ancient tribal lore that's like deeply like spiritual and like important to their history, it's just like Jacob's like, you remember when he used to come over and do sleepovers with my sisters, and my grandpa would always tell us these ghost stories about the red-eyed ones, and like that's it. Like, oh my gosh, it's so much better. Like it's so good because it's like, yeah, this is such a no-brainer. I don't know why this was so hard to do in the first place, but it's just nice because I just don't know. I feel like it is just nice to fix all of the things that are wrong with it. So I'm kind of excited to read the rest of it, but I am really enjoying the Twilight one. Garbanzo, like that author has their whole like, they have a whole like playlist, reading list. I can't remember what it's called on AO3. But they have all of the books like in the same, they're easy to find in a list, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I really like AO3. The AO3 subreddit is always really funny because there's just always so much drama, but like it's like funny drama because it's fandom communities. I literally can't. There we go. My nails look so dirty. I promise it's literally just surfboard wax. I can't get it out. My nails, I cut my nails short and now I can't. You do? Mary, I want to read them. What fandoms are they in? If they're in any. I want to read them. I love reading anything. Well, anything's going to be better than what I haven't written, so I haven't written anything that I've posted anywhere. I have ideas. I am too ADHD, I think, to actually finish anything ever. So many things I would like to do. So many things I will never complete. Let me see. I need to fix this. And fix the focus. Oh, it's so nice being able to adjust that. That's so much better, I think. Oh, okay. I don't know that much about anime, but I feel like a lot of fics you don't need to really know too much about, like, the canon. Depends on how canon-y it is. I watched this video, like it was like a YouTube video essay. Those are like my favorite YouTube videos, are like the hour-long ones with like people who like share like just random stories about stuff. And there was one talking about this guy who like almost destroyed AO3 through like the tagging system, because the tagging system is pretty liberal. It's like free. You just do whatever you want. This person, like, they started, it was on like random anime fandoms, I think. It was like where like they weren't really heavily read. This person was writing like really shit stories, and they just kept tagging it with like every single thing you can imagine. And it literally, so like anytime someone was searching for anything, like their stories would come up, but it would come up with like, you know, when you search, it's like the entirety of the tagging like list shows up. And this person had like, it was like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to get through all the tags. And like literally the AO3 server started to crash because the stories would come up in every search, and then every single person was having all of those being loaded on all of their web pages as they're searching, and it was like hundreds of tags. So they had to change their entire tagging system because of this person, who eventually got banned because they were making the servers crash. But I thought it was kind of funny. Mary, you did. I don't think I ever did. Like, I don't remember it. Cool. Okay. Well, I'm gonna find you. If you want me to. You can keep it anonymous if you want, but if you don't care, I love reading stuff from people that I know. So share your author name if you want to. That's so funny that you encountered that. Oh yeah, okay. That's been your name forever, I feel like. Yeah, that's so funny. I missed all of that drama. Let's see. It has been fun as like some fan fictions become more mainstream to find like audiobook versions. I'm not like a super theatrical person. Like, I don't think I could actually do an audiobook, but it just sounds so fun to like read aloud your favorite fanfics. Like, I just keep thinking like how much, I feel like this is severely out of focus. I just keep thinking like how fun that sounds just to do as like a passion project. Like the Manacled one obviously is like, that one's pretty well known, but there's a few different Manacled ones actually. The one that I found actually isn't well known, but I actually really liked it better than the one that's really popular. But there's also other ones for like some of the other fan fictions I've read recently that were like some of the big ones that I didn't even know existed until I was telling Vincent about them and wanting him to read them, and he does much better with audiobooks. And so I was looking, I was like, there's so many audiobooks for fan fiction now. It's so fun. Mary, that's a fun idea. Okay, good to know. I think that's a great idea. That just sounds fun. I have some fics that I'm like, these are so good, I need everyone to read these, and then no one ever does, because it's such a niche reading community. Like, I could never get, like, my sister to read it, I don't think. But I love it. The one that I'm hoping Vincent will read next is another, like, really popular one, but it's the Rights and Wrongs series. It's another, like, Hermione. But it's just, I liked it so much better than Manacled. I don't know why Manacled is so popular, because Right and Wrongs I think is so much better. If if you're in that genre. I was kind of like, after Manacled, I was like, I need more. So I was reading other ones. Draco Malfoy and the mortifying ordeal of being in love is like the one that's next on my list of that genre. Or of that fandom, rather. But like, Rights and Wrongs was so good. I actually really loved it. I haven't listened to the audiobook, but I was so happy that there was one. Highly recommend. If you thought Manacled wasn't for you, Rights and Wrongs probably would be. Daniel, are you having any luck with your colors? I haven't looked on Discord. I have to pull it up if I want to see it. Ah, Mary, that bunny's so cute. I love it. It's just charming. I love its little tiny, tiny feet. It's darling. Oh, I wanted to find... I'm gonna look up the, Bunny Tarot deck. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. I wonder if I didn't have it on... I thought that I had it saved on my Etsy, but maybe not. Maybe I forgot to keep looking. No, I didn't save it. Bunny Tarot. I am leaving in 15 minutes. Don't let me overstay because I want to get... Oh yeah, here it is. The Bunny Tarot. There's only one left. It's so stinking cute. I love it so, so much. Like, let me show you. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with this cute little art and these bright colors? It feels so like Sailor Moon to me, almost. I love it. Let me see. Petite Garden Edition. Like, so stinking cute. I'm kind of obsessed. And it's like a little deck. Like, it's just cute little size too. I love it so much. Let me see. Need to find more pictures. But yeah, like, they have, this seller has like a few different versions of it. Like, few different Bunny Tarot decks that are like different styles. That was what I was going to show you before that I totally forgot. Ooh, post it in Discord so I can find it again, so I'll forget. I love reading. Like I said, I love recommendations. If people say it's good, I generally tend to agree with them. I really haven't had a bad experience with the book someone's recommended me. So, send it over. I will add it to my list. I'm still in the middle of Emancipation Proclamation, which I don't know if I like yet, but it's so long. I'm like, do I want to finish this? I think I'm going to count it for 3 books in my... It's 946,000 words. So it's like, you know, 3,500 pages or something equivalent. And it's Twilight fanfic, but it's like an alternate universe. Like, they're all humans, and the Cullens are like a mob family. They still live in Washington, but like, there's a modern slave trade in America, and Bella is like born a slave, and Dr. Cullen ends up buying her. There's some kind of mystery with it yet that I haven't uncovered in the book, as to why he ended up buying her. Like, there's some kind of connection that we don't know about yet. But yeah, like, Edward and Jasper and Emmett are just like teenagers in high school, and she's like their literal slave that gets treated well, but like, they just basically, like, Edward like starts to fall in love with her, and like, but it's just like, I'm having a hard time with it. One, because it's kind of graphic, sexually, and they're like underage. I don't know how, I feel weird about that. Like, Bella's 16, I don't need to hear about that. But also, it's just like, every single chapter is written from like Bella's perspective and Edward's perspective. And Edward's voice is so annoying. Like, everyone loves Emancipation Proclamation. Like, I was looking for like old fanfics. I was like, I want to go back in time and like read things from the heyday, you know? So I asked for this, but literally everyone was just like, oh, nothing will ever be Emancipation Proclamation. And I should have known, Whenever anyone says that, it's usually because it's nostalgic and not because it's actually good. But I was like, I'll give it a go. And I'm more than a third of the way through, so I've already read 1,000 pages worth of it. And I still don't know if I'm so tired of like the two perspective thing. I'm about to just skip Edward's perspective, truly. Like his voice is so annoying. He says the F word every 2 seconds. Like every single thing out of his mouth is the F word. And I don't have a problem with cussing, but like it's too much. Like it's blech. He's too much of a 16, 17-year-old. Anyway, so that one is kind of crazy. And then I'm reading the In the Afterlight one that I actually am really enjoying. And then Draco and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love was next on my list because I'm still in a Hermione kick. Going on a year now, but I will read anything else before then. That's just like on the back burner, like what's next in the Hermione universe. I've really been into nostalgia stuff lately. I think it has directly to do with the news. News has been a lot. It's happier than it was a few months ago. The debate on Tuesday sure was a fun watch, but I still get like burnt out and I go turn to like nostalgia things, I think. So that makes sense why I've turned to Harry Potter and Twilight this year. This year of 2024. It's been a little nuts. Ooh, that sounds fun. I actually don't mind, like, I don't need romance in everything. I really don't. I lots of times prefer stories where things are just happening. Like romance to me gets very stale. I think that's probably why I like the Hermione fan fictions, because they're specifically romantic in a way that's still very dramatic, so it doesn't feel boring, but I really don't like, you could not pay me enough to read a standard romance novel from like the bookstore. It's not my thing. I can't. Don't make fun of me.
No, it's just your little like you're getting
It's an involuntary reaction, Vincent. It's true. There isn't. And I would enjoy reading that perspective. I'm not particularly romantic either. Would you say I'm romantic, Vincent?
Hmm?
I don't think I'm romantic.
No, you can be romantic.
I can be romantic?
But usually you're too pragmatic for your own good.
Yeah, I am very practical. I'm probably... Vince and I have talked a lot about this. I think I'm borderline on the spectrum. I think I have a touch of the tism, which makes sense because I am definitely ADHD, and there's so much overlap. But I think that gets in the way of a lot of me feeling like the typical romance. I think I get excited about people, and I feel like I love people, but like the typical way that romance happens really hasn't jived with me. I haven't had a lot of success in navigating that very well. There's a reason that like Vincent and I worked so well from 6,000 miles away. I think that like I can express like love for a person and like be really like want them in my life forever, but I don't know, the romance specifically has always been hard for me. I'm not saying I am aromantic, it's just like I like that perspective probably because I relate to some of the difficulties in navigating social stuff with it.
And then you married a French person.
I married a Frenchman.
That's
That's why though, because I think that you're so standardly romantic that one, it's predictable, but also it compensates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what if I married some like awkward, shy person who like also didn't know how to express themselves? That would have been a disaster. It would have been so hard because I already struggle enough with like understanding what's happening. The amount of miscommunications Vincent and I have about like what he is wanting in the moments of like physical affection is nonstop.
I mean, on top of that, like, again, I'm French. We're dramatic. So half the time I
It's
just
true.
don't know what I want.
That's true
That
too.
makes it work.
You don't even know. Yeah, I would agree, Mary. Like, definitely asexual is like something that's in the standard alphabet of LGBTQ issues. But I get that. I think I always say that Vincent's my best friend first. Like we work as a couple because we are friends. Because we like love to be around each other and love to talk to each other and whatever else all day long. But I've had relationships like that with mostly women. That's how I know I'm very bisexual too. Because really, Vincent's the first. I've had a lot of guy best friends. I take that back, but like, not the same way that Vince and I are like best friends first. And then you just like adding on like the marital relationship part of it really is like the marriage isn't the core of our relationship. I wouldn't say. We could not be married and have the same relationship. Absolutely. What do you say, Vince?
I was focused on something else. Can you reiterate?
I was saying like marriage is definitely not like the core of our relationship. The core of our relationship is like love and friendship,
Yeah.
respect for each other, and like for each other's personhood, and like like watching each other grow is like really inspiring. And
Yeah,
then
it's like-
and then like physical attraction is part of that, but I don't think that would be there without all the other stuff.
Yeah, I think like, it's definitely it's funny because I kind of see it backwards. I see like a lot of people have surface level connections. Like when you think marriage, yeah, you think attraction, you think love for each other, and then but then like the deeper level to that is caring about each other. It's like having the same goals, respecting each other with our growth and our views and all that kind of stuff, So
Yeah. Like I feel like a lot of marriage relationships, they don't actually do the in sickness and in health thing
No,
very well.
Absolutely.
Because what they actually need from each other is something that they can't always give each other, and that makes it really hard. And I feel like that's what we've navigated pretty well. It's tricky though.
Yeah, it is. Like I think the question a lot of people should ask themselves is, what would you do if you were to retire today and you were in the same room with each other
All the time.
24/7?
Forever.
Would you want space? Would you just like literally just not want to be in the same space as them? And that's unfortunately a lot of relationships out there. Like a lot of people that get retired realize like, oh, I actually can't stand my husband or wife because I just didn't have to deal with them. And I
Yeah.
was just coexisting. Well, for us, I mean, we were literally in
That's what
this
we've always
small
done.
space.
We've never done anything
So
else.
we had to work our shit out because we love each other, but also we needed that growth. So yeah, I really, really appreciate that we had to grow.
It's like a mixed bag with us, I think.
Yeah, because then it made us stronger. It made us fall for each other deeper and all that kind of stuff.
Like sexual attraction still matters to me.
Oh, of course.
I think I would feel bad if Vincent was attracted to me. And like if I wasn't attracted to him, then it would just be too awkward. Like I couldn't do it. I'm not good at faking anything ever.
No, you're not.
So that has to be genuine on my part, but definitely isn't the first thing I think of when I think of our relationship. Relationships are hard. They just are. Nothing's easy, and it's just how much are you willing to put up with and how much are you willing to give. That is the thing. And if it's not someone that you can feel like you can do that with, then it's perfectly valid to not even want to try. We talk about that all the time in terms of having kids or not. Like we don't know how much more we can give or how much we want to give. Or that we should, that it's ethically good or not. Like we talk about that all the time. We go back and forth quite a bit. Like I think that is something that people don't talk enough about when they're making big life decisions. Personally. Okay, I am leaving in 4 minutes because here's the deal. I'm starving. We usually do fast food on Thursday nights because it's after the live stream and we don't want to cook. And we have to go to our sleep spot right after this because the park closes at 10 where we're parked right now. And guess what else closes at 10 is a McDonald's curbside pickup. So.
Oh.
And then after that, their dining room's also closed. And then Vincent has to go walk through the fast food, like the drive-through, because our van's too tall to fit through it. So if we want to be able to just get food and go without having to get up and walk through the drive-through, then we have to be there before 10. So we base our timing off of McDonald's drive-through closing times. Or curbside closing times, rather. Stupid. Mary, I always forget. You're so far ahead of us. Well, perfect timing then. I'm probably gonna stop right here. My back also hurts. Today was hard on my body because I just haven't done any real exercise in a week. I am tired. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. I love seeing you guys and chatting with you. This is really like one of my favorite parts of the week. I enjoy it so much. I really, really do. It's fun. It's a great way for me to stay on top of my stuff and connect with people that I don't get to see. So thanks for hanging out. Daniel, if you're still on, feel free to text me if you need any other advice on stuff. And I think that'll be it. Have a good night, Mary. Oh, Mary, before you go, was it you that had a job interview? Or was it someone else? I can't remember. But if it was you, tell me how it went. You can say in the Discord too. I can't remember if that was you or not. It might have been someone else. Okay. Well, I hope it went good. I just totally forgot to ask you about it. Sorry. Oh, he didn't get it. Been there. That's the worst feeling, because, like, you know it's not about you, but it still doesn't feel good. Well, I don't know. Maybe you don't care. I always took it kind of personally, even though I tried not to. Okay, good. I'm glad you're at least going to be able to sit. My mom just finally got into, like, a public school district after a lot of years of working with private schools, and she is so happy, but it took a long time, and it's so much hoops to jump through. Okay, well, onwards and upwards. I'm sending you good vibes, and I hope that everything is still good with you, even though that one didn't work out. Okay, have a good night, everybody. Bye, Daniel. I don't know who else is here, but goodbye, everybody.